Today I'm gonna show you how you can deploy your TanStack Start application to Dokploy. And also I'll tell you why I recently switched from the serverless deployment to VPS for my SaaS projects. You definitely need to know that. And if you find this helpful, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and I would really appreciate it. The last month Vercel charged me around $40 because one of my apps started getting some solid traffic from the Google. And this whole billing process completely unpredictable. You never really know what you're gonna pay in the end of the day. And that's honestly started bothering me, especially if you have 3 to 5 or even more active projects. With serverless platforms, you're essentially renting the compute time by the millisecond. So every request, every function invocation, every bandwidth spike, it's all ends up. And the worst part, you can predict it. One viral tweet, one Reddit post that takes off and suddenly $20 become $1 or even $200. And with VPS, you just paying $5 to $6 per service and that's it. Your price completely predictable for each product, whether you have 100 of visitors or 10,000 of visitors. Eventually you will pay the same amount. And of course, if you see that you're growing, you need more resources, you can always scale up your VPS server to more powerful, right? Or switch into cloud solutions. Plus, with serverless, there's no convenient way to run your project with the Docker, which means running your database independently become a real problem. With VPS and Dokploy, everything lives together. Your front-end, back-end, database, the cache, the background workers, all in one place. And here's another thing, with serverless, your app always serving with kinda cold start approach, right? And to be honest, it's not a problem for landing pages or so, but for the SaaS, web SaaS projects, it could be. And by the way, I always feel this small delay when I access the serverless applications. And with VPS, your application always running, always warm, always ready. There's no any spinning, waiting at all. So first what we have to do is actually choose a provider to purchase our service from, and there's a bunch of companies on the market where we can buy VPS service, but I will go with the Hetzner. Usually it offers the lowest prices, and the other reason, they operate their own infrastructure. They don't resell the services from other providers. They run everything by themselves. Then let's create a new server. I'm gonna go to the servers, add a new server, and here we have to make some configuration. At first, we have to pick an architecture. I wanna go with the simplest one server with 4 GB RAM and 40 GB SSD. And it says right now it's unavailable, and please choose another location or type. So let's try to change the location, for example, to Germany, and here we go. It's become available right now, so I will go with this one for $4.22 per month. Then I will leave Ubuntu and I will leave networking as it is. And here's SSH keys part. So what we have to do is create a new SSH key on your local machine, and we have to add to Hetzner in order to get access to your server from your local terminal. And since I already created SSH key, I will go with this one. And then we have to leave it as it is, everything so far. And yeah, and server name I will leave by default. And then just say create and buy now. And here we go. We add a server. It may take some time to process it. Yeah. Here we go. It's done. Okay. And that's it. Then let's go to the server and copy the IP address. I wanna open the terminal and I wanna say SSH root and IP address. This command will allow us to enter the service by our SSH. And here we go. It says that I entered the server, but if you try and access the server the first time, it will request the password. So in order to get the password, we have to go to the Rescue tab and click Reset Root Password. And then just copy it and pass it to your terminal. And by the way, if you configured your SSH keys in the right way and you still see access denied error in your terminal while you're trying to access the server, this is no issue. And what we have to do actually is say permit root login yes and password authentication yes in your SSHD config. And since we entered our server, we just need to do one thing here. We just need to run the Dokploy CLI. I'm gonna copy the command and pass to my terminal and just press enter. It usually takes some time to process. It installed and took around 2 minutes or so. So what we have to do right now is open this address in our browser. And here we go, we can see Dokploy on top of our server, and we just need to create a first user. And register. And our user has been successfully created. We can see here our account and all Dokploy functionality. And ideally, we have to add the domain for our Dokploy application in order to enable HTTPS certificate and be more secure. But for now, for the demo purpose and for local development, let's encrypt at least email. I'm gonna choose my email, enable HTTPS, and choose the certificate provider and just save it. Yeah, and that's it. Let's create our first project. I'm gonna call it TanStack Start. Click create, and what we actually see in here that we can create any additional environments for our project and create services, as many services as we want. Right here, application, database, compose, template, and AI assistant. But let's pay attention to the first two, application and database. But before we create our first service, let's go to our code base and see what actually we need, what kind of services we need in order to deploy our entire full stack application. So here I'm prepared a simple full stack app using TanStack Start, and for the database I'm using the PostgreSQL with Drizzle, ORM. So what we essentially need is run two services on our server. The first, which will run our database on Dokploy, and the other one which will serve our full stack application. But before we go and create our first service, we have to a bit adjust our TanStack Start application. We have to go to yconfig and install this Nitro V2 plugin. And inside the config itself, we have to call this plugin and say preset not server. And then we have to go to package.json and expose this command in the scripts, which actually will run our full stack application on Dokploy server. And let's create our first service, database service. Actually, I'm gonna call it DB, and then I'm gonna use my configuration from my end file. And then I'm gonna use Postgres 17 and click create. And the service has been created. Let's jump into it and click deploy. And deployment completed successfully. That's great. And our database service exposed for us internal connection URL, which we'll use a bit further for our full stack application. Then let's create application service, right? But before we create it, we have to go to the Git settings and you have to connect your GitHub account with Dokploy or GitLab, right? I already connected it, so I'm gonna back to TanStack Start project and click create service application. I'm gonna call it frontend and click create. Then I want to open the service, and in here we have to make some configuration. I'm going to use my GitHub account, then we'll choose the repo, TanStack Kit, then branch, and the other things I will leave as it is and click save. Okay, and here in build type, I'm gonna choose the latest build type from the Dokploy, which called Railpack, and also click Save. Okay, then what we have to do is create the domain for our application. I wanna click Add Domain and click this button, which will generate the random domain for me, and then I will leave everything as it is. Okay. Then I wanna copy this domain and let's go to environment variables. I'm gonna pass this domain for now, and then I will copy entire configuration and paste it. So here I have to replace the betterauth URL with my domain, and then we have to use the internal database connection. I'm gonna click Save for now and then copy internal connection URL. And then I will come back to my frontend environment configuration, and then I wanna pass the URL, internal URL, and replace to be aligned with internal connection. I'm gonna replace the host and the port. And that pretty much, so it's not needed anymore. I want to save it, and by the way, internal connection allows us to handle requests between our full stack application and database much faster. So since we configured everything, we can go to general and deploy our application. And it's been deployed. Let's go to domains and open our deployment URL. And here we go. We can see that our full stack application is serving here. And then let's test the database connection. I'm not trying to log in to my account, and we can see that our database connection working as well. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to share with you. I would really curious what do you think about such deployment approach using Dokploy. So feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments, and I would love to hear your opinion. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.